Hi everyone, I hope you're having a fantastic day. I know, it's been forever since I last shared a manga haul. I originally wasn't going to post one this month because I've been so exhausted, but this week I started diving into the books I bought recently and I had such a good time. Like a genuinely amazing time. And I wanted to share that energy and enthusiasm with you all today, so here I am. As usual, I'm going to start with my continuations, so things I've already started and enjoyed, and then we'll move on to new things. So let's go! We are starting off the day strong with Volume 1 of Therapy Game Restart. Absolutely perfect, 10 out of 10, 100 out of 10, I have nothing more to say. Just kidding, I always have something more to say about Therapy Game. I love this manga so much, and I feel so lucky to be alive to read it. I know that's so dramatic, but I can't stop, won't stop. Of course, I read this volume as soon as I got it, and of course, I reread all 3 volumes soon after. Do I have the time to reread Therapy Game every month? Nope. But will that stop me? Absolutely not. I feel like I'm squeezing the life out of this manga, and it's still not enough. I also got these really cute Therapy Game acrylic standees. You can find them on Animate, but I bought them on Nyokyo before I knew that. Up next, I picked up Volume 2 of Play It Cool Guys. When I first started this volume, I really wasn't feeling it and thought, okay, this is just fine? Why did I want to continue this series? Some big question marks. But oh my goodness, as soon as these goofballs started goofing, I remembered why I enjoyed Volume 1 so much. There is so much secondhand embarrassment and cringe, I really can't handle it. But these guys are adorably hilarious. I may have mentioned this last time, but reading this manga makes me feel so much better about myself and my own awkwardness. I wouldn't say it's laugh out loud funny, but it's amusing and it makes me grin. I'm not sure if I'm going to continue picking this up, because I'm not sure how much longer I'll be entertained by this concept. It looks like in Volume 3 there's going to be a new character introduced, so that might spice things up. This is definitely a manga I would suggest enjoying in small doses and not all at once. Up next, I picked up Volume 3 of Boys Run the Riot. Did anyone else have their world completely shatter at the end of Volume 2? Because, same. That cliffhanger decimated me. Because I don't want anyone to go into it unprepared, Volume 2 includes a non-consensual public outing. And naturally, Volume 3 dealt with the fallout of it. Transitioning from Volume 2, I thought Volume 3 was much more hopeful. I pretty much cried the entire time. It was so much. So good, so painful, so moving. I've never been more focused while reading in my entire life. I basically experienced the full spectrum of human emotion while reading this one book. My breakdowns aside, I like that with each volume our world expands a little. Of course, the manga is still very much centered on Ryo, but I like learning about other characters and their concerns and identities. I highly recommend this manga to anyone with any interest in or curiosity about the LGBTQ community, street fashion, art, living boldly, and all of the angst that comes with trying to figure yourself out. It's just so good and so important. It would not be a manga haul without Natsume's Book of Friends. I'm slowly but surely picking up the manga. Honestly, I don't know why I decided to pace myself this way. Something about buying too many volumes of a series in one go makes me a little antsy, but I'm going to try and pick up the rest of the series soon. I also bought some really cute Natsume birthday goodies. These actually arrived several weeks ago. I thought about making an unboxing video for them, but I got lazy, which is totally fine. These are so cute. You know, I actually have a small idea for why I might be taking so long with collecting the manga. Natsume volumes do not come out that often. If I bought everything in one go, what would I even do with myself after? Wither away into nothing? We can't have that. If I stretch things out and pace myself, I can look forward to it as long as possible. Natsume's Book of Friends is still my absolute favorite anime, and with every volume of the manga that I pick up, it inches higher and higher on my favorite manga list too. And would it be a manga haul if I did not also pick up Noragami? Have I mentioned recently how much emotional damage I have because of this current arc? No? Well, it's unbearable. I have never been so terrified and heartbroken reading my favorite series. I am so worried about Yato. And Yukine? Poor Yukine. We're not even done with the main goals of this arc, and I'm already thinking about the amount of coping, damage control, and therapy everyone is going to need after. I just got volume 24 in Japanese, and I think I just have to accept that we're going to be on the struggle bus for a long time. Because of the long wait between volumes, I am getting a little fuzzy on the details of this arc, so I'll probably have to start my annual reread of Noragami pretty soon. Next, I picked up volume 2 of the Apothecary Diaries. This manga is so much fun. Mao is still the biggest baddie ever, so level-headed, kind, and clever. When I learned about her freckles in this volume, I lost my mind. I already have all the feels for this young lady, but now I would give my life for her. Or maybe I'd find a new poison for her, because that seems to be the way to her heart. And then when she came up with the idea on how to alter clothes for the cold, I fell in love all over again. She's just a genius, an absolute genius. I love this manga so much. Not only is Mao the coolest girl ever, but I love following her thought process. She's so interesting. I always have a lot of fun reading this manga. I'm a little behind on it, but I intend to fix that very soon. Next, I picked up volume 5 of Twittering Birds Never Fly. This manga continues to be fantastic, and it continues to put my heart in a blender and shred it to pieces. You know when the elastic on your socks or your hair tie or anything else wears out, but you still keep using them? That's me. Despite the pain, I keep coming back. Domeki and Yashiro are too much for my weak heart. And it's so hard to be a stone-cold lady when I'm so emo every time Domeki flashes his sad puppy eyes. I think I talked about this last time, but I really am so fascinated by the role sex plays in this manga. It's most apparent with Yashiro and how he uses sex, but the power, control, and currency of sex in this manga gets the gears in my head spinning. I love it so much. Even the paneling makes me emotional. I feel like I should give the manga a reread soon because I'm kind of forgetting all of the other stuff that's going on right now. Again, those puppy eyes will make me stop whatever I'm doing. Once I get to volume 6, I'll probably reread everything and wallow some more. I know I make it sound like I'm constantly in pain reading this manga, but I do love it a lot. I'm very happy and excited to be able to read this series, despite the heartbreak and longing I feel every single time. On to what is quickly becoming one of my favorite manga of all time, Volume 4 of A Man and His Cat. This manga brings me so much joy that I genuinely find myself wondering if I felt true happiness before reading this. Again, I'm so dramatic, I know, but it's true. It's that powerful. The happiness I feel when reading this manga is unparalleled. Kanda and Fukumaru are so cute. I love them so much. I also love meeting other people in Kanda's life. His friendship with the pet shop owner, his co-workers, his rival. All of these friendships are so sweet. This manga is just so pure. Kanda helping his rival with his new kitty, amazing. Fukumaru meeting his older sister, life-changing. This is another manga I am just so grateful for, and I know I'll cherish it forever. Next, I picked up volumes 1, 2, and 3 of I Hear the Sunspot Limit. I have so many feelings about this manga. On one hand, this is one of the most touching things I have ever read. It's such a unique manga and so important with how carefully and thoughtfully it handles disabilities. But on the other hand, it's sometimes so frustrating. It's an emotional roller coaster. So hot and cold, so much pushing and pulling, moments that pull at my heartstrings, and moments that make me want to pull out my hair instead. But I think sometimes life is that complicated too. I first started this manga in 2017 when I was much more immature, and I was a little confused by the lack of romance. By this point, I very much appreciate the slow pace the manga took. Kohei and Taichi are both so precious and sweet, but they both had some serious growing up to do. I've been rooting for them for years, and I finally got the emotional payoff I've been waiting for. I'm just sometimes frustrated by their lack of communication. So many of their problems and insecurities could have been fixed had they just taken the time to talk to each other. So at times, it felt like we were going in circles over and over again until they finally figured things out. And I know, relationships are like that sometimes, but spending so many volumes watching that happen was a lot. I'm glad for my sanity that they finally reached a point where they could both understand each other. Even with their at times frustrating relationship, I really love this manga. I think it teaches so many important lessons on empathy, being clear with our intentions, and understanding people without inserting our own judgments. There is such a diverse group of characters here in varying levels of compassion and varying levels of hearing ability. Learning about each of their perspectives and motives was so fascinating. I read all of Limit in one go, so I do want to go back and reread each part again, just for fun. I think the author is working on a 4th installment, which is so exciting. We spent so much time developing Kohei and Taichi's ambiguous relationship, so I'd love to see more focus on them as a couple. I can only hope that One Piece Books licenses it soon. Next, I picked up Volume 5 of BL Metamorphosis. You know, with all of the manga delays out there, I really wanted this volume to be delayed too. I just didn't want this to end. I know, I'm so sentimental about things that really aren't that important. It's just a manga, but I don't know, endings always feel bittersweet no matter how good they are. As much as I try to mentally prepare, I'm never truly ready for them. But whether or not we're ready, life keeps going on. And that's kind of the impression I got from this volume too. I don't really know how to describe my feelings here, but I like the gentle atmosphere of this volume. This whole manga was very chill and sweet, but particularly volume 5. It really felt like things were winding down. Reflecting on this manga made me appreciate how important fiction and fandoms are. Seeing how much joy Ichinoi felt after reading BL, and seeing Urera draw her own manga were such powerful and moving developments. It really touched my heart. That book signing scene, for example, made me cry. It was so lovely. And being able to make friends through a shared interest is such a special feeling. Like making friends because of manga? That's so awesome. And so in thinking about this manga, I felt really thankful for my online friends actually. I made a core group of pals in the Manga Collectors Discord server, and the fact that we've been in touch for years now blows my mind. I'm actually also still in touch with one of my oldest internet friends from over a decade ago, from when we were in a Death Note fan group. I know I sound so cheesy right now, but people's lives interacting and improving because of a hobby is just so amazing. It's part of the reason why I made a YouTube channel in the first place. I want to keep reading things I love and share them with others, but I also want to know what you love too. I am so going to miss BL Metamorphosis, but I feel invigorated walking away from it. And lastly, for things that I'm continuing, I picked up the first books of The Scum Villain Self-Saving System, Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation, and Heaven Official's Blessing. I wasn't sure if I should group these into the continuing section of the video or the new section, because while I am familiar with all of these series already, they're still volume 1s. Tomato, tomato. Anyway, I'm not going to spend that much time rambling about these books here, because I feel like I've already rambled a lot about them in previous videos, and I will continue to ramble about them in upcoming videos too. These books are life-changing, reality-altering, world-shifting. Yes, they're that good. I am so thankful to MXTX, and so thankful that they're becoming even more popular now. My friends and family have had to hear me ramble about these series for months now. And it's so heartwarming and fun to see my friends crack into these books and live react. For Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation and Heaven Official's Blessing, I actually own these novels in quite a few languages, and I'm familiar with pretty much all of their adaptations. The Scum Villain Self-Saving System, in contrast however, is relatively new to me. I watched the animated adaptation and it was so funny, so getting to read the novel for once has been such a treat. I don't know why I was so averse to transmigration novels. It always felt like such a bizarre concept to me, but Scum Villain Self-Saving System is so good. Shen Qingqiu is so complex, unique, and funny. He's a great main character. Of course, I'm excited to continue picking up the rest of all of these novels, but I'm especially excited to finally dig into the Scum Villain Self-Saving System some more. Wow, I somehow managed to ramble a lot, even now. What can I say? I can't resist. It's time to move on to the new things I started. Starting off with the manga, that's the sole reason why I wanted to make a haul video in the first place. Volume 1 of My Love Mix-Up. This was so delightful. I was smiling right from the beginning. It's so silly and cute, and I was reeling from the sweetness. It wouldn't be a crush if it didn't absolutely demolish you, right? It's been a long time since I read something so light, fun, and refreshing. Stories that take place in high school always make me feel nostalgic for a past I never even experienced. It feels like I'm living vicariously through Aoki. He's so funny, and I love his ugly facial expressions so much. Normally, I can't handle misunderstandings in any story, but the ones in this manga were so funny and so sincere. I did some digging to see when Volume 2 had come out, and surprise, it already did. But while doing so, I found out that My Love Mix-Up already has a live-action adaptation on Viki. So of course I started it right away, and oh my goodness, it's so good! Michieda Shunsuke is the perfect Aoki. He's so cute, such a darling. The whole cast is just so spot on, and they really did an amazing job bringing this manga to life. I've already watched past where Volume 1 ended, so I'm glad I did not have to wait to find out more. I will still continue to buy the volumes, but for now, the live action will keep me sated. Next, I picked up Volume 1 of Black or White. I'm always on the lookout for new BL to devour, and lately I've been interested in entertainment industry fiction, so picking this up felt like a no-brainer. I like that this manga features an established relationship. Yes, friends, enemies, or strangers to lovers is fun, but there's something very grounding about an established couple. I haven't read a lot of manga like that. I'm also trash for misunderstood characters like Shin. They always ignite a protective instinct in me. He is so awkward and cute, like so awkward. He really is trying his best though. I love how he's such a scaredy cat in love, especially when paired with his partner Shige and his soft possessiveness. Such an interesting matchup. Overall, I thought this first volume wasn't bad. Next, I got Captivated by You. Honestly, I don't remember what originally persuaded me to buy this manga, but I have a feeling it's that the title is just so cute. Captivated by You. Who doesn't want to hear that? I'm not really sure how to describe this manga other than to call it endearing. It's so odd and sweet, cute and charming. I really like that we got to hone in on two different varieties of oddball students and spent a few chapters learning about each of them. I guess that's kind of the point. It's easy to brush off outsiders as odd or weird, but trying to get to know them and understand why they do what they do sort of demystifies them. Especially in Hayashi's case, I like how he doesn't even try to fit in with everyone else. He's just doing his own thing, which is so fun. I had fun reading this, but I'm not sure if this is something I can see myself rereading multiple times. Then I have Volume 1 of Free Ren Beyond Journey's End. I think I've said pretty much all that I wanted to say about this volume in my top 10 video. If you're interested in my rambles, please check that video out. It's been a few weeks since I read Volume 1, and it still has such a vice grip on my soul. The fact that I'm still thinking about it, it's just so good. So sweet and gentle, and it made me reflect a lot on my life in a very graceful way. On to some Secret Santa gifts. I love Secret Santa so much. Gift giving is so much fun. The first book I received is Volume 1 of Sweat and Soap. I've been so hesitant about picking up this manga for months. I was just skeptical of the premise. I'm so particular about my personal space, so the thought of someone sniffing someone else, even in a manga, was such a turnoff, but I kept going because I trust my friend and she would not lead me astray. Honestly, even in the first couple of pages, I thought Natori was so weird. But as the chapter progressed, I started nodding along, vibing, and I was thinking, oh, wow, this is really sweet. I wanted to smother Asako in love and appreciation, but I guess that's what Natori is for. Basically, my whole experience with this volume, in the best possible way, was, wow, this is really weird, only to later on think, wow, this is the most wholesome thing I have ever read. I'm so glad Asako is reevaluating her relationship with Sweat. Rather than changing herself, she needed someone who appreciated her for who she was. And isn't that the sweetest thing ever? I'm also genuinely so intrigued by Natori's sense of smell. Like, how does that work? She can't hide anything from him. The mortifying ordeal of being known, inescapable for her. I'm glad I put this manga on my wish list, and I'm glad my friend got it for me. I'll definitely try to pick up more soon. Next, I have another Secret Santa gift for my friend, Volume 1 of Kakuryo, Bed and Breakfast for Spirits. This manga has also piqued my interest for a long time. I really like learning about ayakashi and folklore in general. Maybe because it was still setting the scene, but I thought the beginning of this manga was a little boring. Aoi is sweet, but I wasn't interested in hearing her complain about being whisked away and all that. Does that sound mean? I just wanted to get to the good stuff. I thought this manga really picked up once we were introduced to Ginji and Aoi started cooking for them. Ginji is so adorable, and their intro really livened things up for me. I really liked learning about the cultural exchange between their worlds. I've never thought about it that way, but that was such a unique way of viewing their relationship. Overall, I thought this volume was alright, not a top priority, but I may pick up the next volume at some point. Next, I picked up Would You Like to Be a Family? Found family is my jam. Literally the best trope. Lonely people finding each other? The best thing, in fiction and in real life. I actually didn't know that this was a collection of short stories. Normally, I love short story collections, but this time around I was really only interested in the first story. I enjoyed it a lot and actually wanted to read more about them. I don't have too much more to say. Every story was cute in its own way. Found family, first love, less thinking, more feeling. A lot of good things all around. The first story was easily my favorite, and the other two were mostly just alright. I'm not sure if one story being really good is enough to overshadow two okay stories. Overall, I still thought this was touching and sweet, but that's about it. Also from Tokyopop, I picked up Cherie My Destiny. I love characters who are absolute menaces. It's just so stupid and funny seeing them cause problems for no reason at all. This manga was so silly, cute, and fun. I really love food and confections in particular, so manga about that are right up my alley. I always feel bad when I don't have too much to say. Normally I can't stop talking, but sometimes I really don't have anything I want to elaborate on. I thought this was cute and fluffy and pretty good for a single volume story. I think if you're in the mood for a short story and want something quick and easy to pass the time, you should check this out. But I'm not sure if I will read it again. And now for our grand finale, I got volume 1 of our Not So Lonely Planet Travel Guide. Oh my goodness, this manga completely lifted my spirits. It has everything a good story needs. An opposites attract established couple, great food, travel, beautiful sights, and good company. But oh my goodness, the gutter margins! Tokyopop, why do you hurt me so? It's even worse in this case because the art is so beautiful in this manga. It's so detailed and lovely, and it makes me feel like I'm actually traveling with Asahi and Mitsuki. I'm also trash for storytelling through food, so you can only imagine how much I love a manga that features food too. The food art? Unparalleled. I think the concept for this manga is already so interesting, but the art just takes it to new levels. Asahi and Mitsuki are so precious. I love them so much. They are so cute and so sweet. I love how the manga also gives us an opportunity to learn about new cultures and meet new people. There were so many life lessons too. Just astounding. Especially right now when I haven't even left the city in years, a manga like this feels even more special. It's like I can travel without leaving my room. Even though that's to be expected given that this is literally a travel manga. But in general, I love how manga can always transport me elsewhere. I'm so grateful for that. In short, our Not So Lonely Planet Travel Guide is a work of art both literally and figuratively, but also probably emotionally too. And with that, we are finally at the end of this video. Wow, I am tired. Manga hauls take a lot of energy, but they're still really fulfilling and fun to make. I can't promise I'll post a haul every month. I will probably share one for my birthday next month. But after that, I'll try pacing myself a little so I don't get too tired. I know, I'm a wimp. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and will consider checking out some of these titles. Sometimes I get so in my head that I forget to do my hobbies, so it's always fun when I'm in the mood to read. I always feel so invigorated afterward, and I hope you also read something fun too. As always, I hope you're happy, healthy, and safe. Bye bye!